Welcome to Call to Be a Voice. My name is Carolyn Cofield. In the Old Testament scriptures, we read how God supernaturally delivered the children of Israel from the bondage and slavery of Egypt. But there was a problem. The people came out, but they brought an Egypt mentality way of living with them. Over and over again, no matter what God did for them and provided for them, they continued to murmur, complain, and grumble. Their final chapter and fate became one of not just wandering in the wilderness for 40 years, but it seems like the original group of the diehards, they all ended up dying there except for Caleb and Joshua. If any generation refuses to learn from past mistakes and sins, they are doomed and destined to just repeat history over and over again. So if what you're doing isn't working, you need to try something different. I remember taking some medicine, not realizing that the expiration date had really expired. Just like those little blue pills, things can look okay in the bottle, look okay in the box, in its original container, but it could very well have expired its season of usefulness. The season for some traditions and programs and projects have expired. Although the message of God's Word never changes, methods that worked in the past have become, for some, a place where faith is no longer needed or expected because people just refuse to change, just content with always doing the same old thing the same old way. There's a saying, if what you're doing is meaningless, you need to bring meaning to what you do. Even God said in Isaiah 4:19, "Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." Insanity has been described as doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. Bottom line, if what you're doing is not working for you, then do something different. I'm reminded of a movie that I've even watched multiple times called Groundhog Day. A man named Phil Connors, who was played by Bill Murray, is a mean-spirited, egotistic reporter who's been forced to cover the annual Groundhog Day ceremony in Pennsylvania. Caught in a time loop, Connors has to relive Groundhog Day over and over again. At first, he exploits his knowledge of what has happened to him for personal gain. Eventually, however, Connors began to see the ugliness of his own selfishness and realizes the folly of his foolish ways. Later, he finds joy befriending everyone in his path with selfless acts of kindness, as it would be to reap what you sow. The cycle is broken, and he wakes up a new day, a new person, a new life, a new attitude, a new love, a new heart, and a new start. There came a time in Israel's history that God told them that they had wandered in the wilderness way long enough. Since my trip to Israel, I realized that the millions of people couldn't have been lost in the wilderness. They just wandered, going around in a circle, round and round, over and over again. And when you do that, you end up making yourself a nice little rut. It's been said that a rut is described as a grave with both ends kicked out. I'm so reminded of a comical incident that a newly married woman shared with me. While on her honeymoon, enjoying the calm swimming pool waters, she was unaware that her husband did not know how to swim. And in a panic, all of a sudden, he began to splash around in the water, hysterically, waving his arms and calling to his wife to help him and telling her that he was drowning. She came to his aid, telling him to calm down, and all he had to do was just stand up. After all, this hunk of a man was trying to drown in 2 feet of water. Simply said, how do you get out of a rut? For starters, you can at least sit up, throw one leg over the side, and climb out, or even better still, sit up, brace yourself, stand up, and step out of the rut. One of the best ways to get out of a rut is to help someone else. The psalmist writes in Psalms 119:36, "Turn my heart toward your statutes and not toward selfish gain." We need to help someone else. What did you learn from your last experience? Regrets are wasted experiences, meaning you didn't learn anything. And like the children of Israel, you'll probably repeat the same thing over again. If nothing changes, well, nothing changes. Our lives look like our choices. If you want your life to look different, then begin to make different choices. Ask God for a second wind to begin again. See, it's easy to go through our days, our lives, irresponsible, playing the blame game, feeling sorry for ourselves, making excuses, living with regrets, or living selfishly. What about me? Or thinking it's all about you. How might your day, even your life, look if you had to relive it all over again? What would you do differently? Well, if you are still alive, still breathing, if there isn't a chalk outline around your body on the floor, then you have a chance to start all over again. We can do nothing to change yesterday, but we can certainly begin today to believe for a better tomorrow. Now, this is Sister C saying it's not too late to become what you might have been.